everybody started somewhere, and many times we just get so focused on what we see as the outcome
Right.
that we forgot the journey. And that's the detail. The detail is the journey. The small is the journey.
But I just thought it's so important because it's literally shaping us. Those small little decisions, how we handle those small decisions is what is shaping our future. Hey everyone, I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Asbel.
And we want to welcome you to another episode on A Cup of Real. And we're going to have a conversation around the topic of how we handle the small things in life matter.
That's exactly right. A lot of times we think only focus on the big things, but you got to start with the small things.
Because I think most people probably feel like they're being shaped by the big decisions in life, but it's actually the small decisions that are shaping us first.
Well, and it's the details that matter.
Yeah.
And so many times, though, what you have to do is not become so fixated on the details that then you demand perfection and not excellence.
Yeah.
And so, but details matter. And that's really important to note that focus on that, do the small things. There's a lot of Bible around that.
Oh, yeah, a lot.
I'm sure we're going to talk about that today.
Scripture.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that the small things, when no one's looking, is what is shaping our character, our work ethic, our destiny.
It's what builds us. It's what builds us. What we talk about, whatever. So it doesn't matter, and even from the professional side or the business side, it doesn't matter if you're a small business that does less than $1 million a year. You focus on the detail. You focus on what takes you out. John Maxwell says it this: what takes you out of the people pile?
Right.
What makes you different? You don't get distracted by the Fortune 50 companies. They started out just like you did. And that's what I keep my focus on constantly when I'm building and growing is everybody started somewhere. And many times we just get so focused on what we see as the outcome that we forgot the journey. And that's the detail. The detail is the journey. The small is the journey. Is the journey.
Yeah. So a little bit of kind of the train of thought I'm going on right now is the character part.
Yeah. Oh, that's important.
Because I feel like how we respond when no one's looking is what is shaping us. You know how they say, if you can't handle the heat in the little kitchen, how are you going to be able to handle everything, all those opportunities in the bigger kitchen? Yeah. And I told you a few weeks ago about a story about the cart, the item.
Oh, yeah.
And I think you have a story or something that you heard.
Tell the audience about that, because that's a really good story.
Okay, so I was in the store. I had my cart full, and I went and checked out and went trucking down the parking lot to my car, started putting the bags in the car, and then I realized there was still an item in the cart. First initial thought, I'm just going to push it there. The cart guy can find it. He can take it back. It's no big deal. But I kept feeling that. No, you walk it back in, return it. But I didn't want to. I didn't want to take it with me, but I didn't want to go back in there. It's like, they'll take care of it. But I couldn't leave. So I went and I took it back in there, and I just thought, it's the small things that we do that are shaping us. Are we mishandling those small opportunities that maybe, I don't want to say God's testing us, but He's building us.
But He's just watching us.
Yeah,
and
He's
seeing,
watching us.
Can you handle?
No one would have seen it.
Yeah.
No one would have known.
No.
I wouldn't have told anybody. But I told you a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
But I just thought it's so important because it's literally shaping us. Those small little decisions, how we handle those small decisions is what is shaping our future.
I know I was talking about this. I was speaking at a conference in Denver, talking about the same exact issue is the character of it is defined by when people don't see you and how you respond. And, I've always been taught how you treat the server, how you treat the individual at the hotel that opens the doors, how you talk to someone, that those that cannot do anything for you, that identifies who you really are. Because you can put on, you can do what have you. And I've been convicted sometimes. I even talk about it like how you treat the individual when you're driving down the road and they cut you off. That defines who you are.
So don't go
your
running after
response to that, your
Yeah.
reaction to that
Yeah.
will begin to identify things that you might need to work on. And we don't ever talk about that because
No.
it's easy not to.
Yeah.
But when
'Cause
you're, yeah.
we look at it, it's not that important. And a scripture, Luke 16:10, whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. Whoever is dishonest with very little will also be dishonest with much.
And boy, we see that played out.
Yeah,
We're seeing
all the
that
time.
played out with leaders all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And we're trying to understand, how did they come to this? They didn't just come to this.
No,
This is what they have always been.
Slowly building.
You were not looking for the signs, or you were excusing the signs. Maya Angelou says it this way. Once they reveal themselves to you the first time, believe them, because that is who they are. And many times we will make excuses. I've done it. I have made excuses for behaviors. I've made excuses saying that is not, they're just grumpy. They've not slept well, what have you. No, that is who they are. Unless you start to see the fruit of something different. We were talking about this yesterday. The Bible talks about being grafted into the vine. He is the vine. Mm-hmm. And if you're grafted in, you will begin to produce who he is. Mm-hmm. If you're not producing that, you're not grafted.
Yeah. The fruit.
You're not grafted into the vine. If you're not producing the fruit of the Spirit, which is love, joy, peace, kindness, long-suffering, patience, endurance is not one, but it's part of it. Yeah. Perseverance.
Yeah.
Self-control.
Yep.
What we're talking about is self-control, because that is what happens, what you do in the small things. When people aren't watching, when it seems trivial to you, like what you're talking about in the grocery cart.
It's not a big deal.
It's not a big deal. It's
Everybody
like, I don't
does
feel like
it.
going back in. I don't feel like doing it. It's those small things that begin to tell you, you know what, I'm cognizant of people around me. I'm cognizant of giving grace to people around me. I've had to do that. Picking up, you see a piece of trash, and if you see it, you glance at it, you move past. I'm like thinking, I probably should have picked that up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You totally just discard, but it's the truth. It's like, okay, why couldn't you pick that up? Right. Why didn't you feel, instead of saying, man, I wish they would do something about this, it's sloppy.
Yeah. Well, you do it. Yeah. No, it's true. It's just, I think this is such a fascinating topic that we don't hear a lot about, and we excuse it. And I've done it. I've done all the things we're talking, but God is
done every single one of them.
molding me and shaping me. I do have a few questions I think we can ask ourselves and expound on. Yeah. If no one would ever find out, would you still choose the same action? Kind of what happened to me, or that could be with anything.
You know what I would say if you asked me this question in my early 20s, I'd probably say nobody's whatever. I mean, hey, I'm gonna get away with it, sure. As I've gotten older and self-reflected, I'm thinking, no, that's the defining character of who I am.
Yeah.
Is when no one's watching. Are you perfect? Absolutely not. Mm-hmm. But you recognize things when they begin to happen.
I
recognize
feel that
it.
Conviction.
Yeah.
I don't want to call it guilt, but I want to feel guilty if I do something wrong like that, though. I do.
I still remember the story where I could have justified it in my mind and I would have done it, but I talked about this earlier when I was in that airplane several months ago, and the lady, something was off and she was just acting, it was, like in my opinion, would have been inappropriate behavior to customers. And I just remember looking at her saying, don't talk to me again. And I just said, that was all I said. I said, I don't want you talking to me again. And very dismissive, and it was not very nice. And I become so self-convicted, I actually had to apologize and ask for forgiveness, and then she teared up on it. But that, to me, is when you do mess up now, there's a trigger in me that says that is wrong.
Correct it. Yeah.
And my pride didn't want to correct it because I was justifying in my mind for 30 minutes before I finally
paid all this money.
Before I finally said, it doesn't matter. There's no rationale. You need to lean into it. You need to grow. You need to learn the lesson from this. Yeah. So my standpoint is when you start on the journey, it's not like a muscle. So I've built the muscle up now. So when it does happen,
you're more. You're there.
You and I are talking about it too whenever we go to rent, like thinking they must be having a bad day today.
At a restaurant.
So it's a restaurant, or we go to a hotel and all of a sudden people ignore it, or they're just rude, or like it just happened. It's like they
a
must
week
be having a
ago,
bad
we
day.
were at that parking lot downtown Austin, and the guy was kind of rude and grumpy, and I was going, he's having a bad day. But then I started being nice.
Yeah.
But I could have been grumpy right back or like, what's wrong with you? But
Yeah.
obviously there was something going on.
But it's funny how our conversations have changed, where we would have gotten irritated. It's just
And
we're more
clapped right
aware
back.
of it now.
Yeah.
And that's really important because it would have been very easy to have been me because we don't know him.
Yeah.
And we could have just
We'll never see him again.
Yeah, we'll never see him again. Versus to someone we see all the time, we put on a face.
Yeah.
And that's not real.
No.
And that is not truly who you are, because what happens is when something happens under pressure you have to react, it will reveal that, and then you'll become nasty, rude, and mean if that's what you are.
Well, I also think as Christians, and we have leaned into our faith big time.
Oh, yeah.
We are kind of, my mom would say, ambassadors for Jesus, but we are like his mouthpiece. So they're watching us, how we treat them. We're either sowing good seed or bad seed, and so I think that's another way to look at it.
Well, that's how our parents always raised us.
Yes.
I know my dad, it's the same
but
thing.
But I haven't always been there.
Right, before they see Jesus, son, they see you.
Yes. So that's another thing that convicts me a lot, more than ever. When I was younger, I didn't,
we would always hear those things. Are you the Jesus? Are you the person? Are you the Jesus that others would want?
Yeah.
So if they can't see him through you, that's why you have to be grafted into the vine. Yeah. You are turning off people that might want to have an experience with Christ. Yeah. And if they say, they're like, if that's what that is, that's not what I want.
Well, and they're not being rude to you because you're a Christian. They're being rude to you because of how you're acting and treating. You're mean.
Because you're mean.
There's a big difference.
And you can try to justify it all day long. Well, I'm paying for this or whatever.
It doesn't
matter. The Bible
matter.
talks about, this is the whole journey that I'm on, that I said in 2026 I was going to be on, and I'm encountering it all the time now.
Loving your neighbor as yourself.
Love my neighbor as myself. And it's easy to love those who love me back. But can I love those who despitefully use me? Can I love those that speak evil against me? That is hard. That is the hardest thing to do.
I'm not on that journey.
That is the hardest thing to do.
We're all on that journey.
We're all on that journey.
Regardless if we're being intentional
about it or not. If we want to be like Christ,
because
Jesus said that very clearly.
Yeah.
Very clearly. You love your neighbor. He didn't say condition it and say only love those who love you back. You love all of them.
All.
Everybody you love.
Everybody. All. Okay, I have a few more things here. Okay. This is kind of similar. Are your standards the same in private as they are in public?
Well, they should be.
They should be.
They should be, but are they? And that's a self-reflective discussion that you need to have. And it's something that I'm constantly looking at. Do I push excellence only to the external, but am I pushing excellence in my life? I'm kind of talking through that same thing with me. Like, am I doing it with, how I treat my body? How do I work out? Am I constantly doing that? I've been asking that question of me lately because, like yesterday, I went and weighed in with my trainer, and he was like, "Oh my Lord, Asper, you got to drop." I'm like thinking,
no,
you know what? I've probably been not having those disciplines on the road lately. I've been eating too much pasta, rice, and breads.
But I said this last night at our date night. I love your trainer. He's fabulous, but you may have to get someone new because you need someone like a military guy who's
Jack,
on you.
If you're hearing that right now, because he listens to her. Jack, if you're hearing that, she's telling me I need somebody that's militant that says, get over here right now.
And if he fires you because you're being too militant, oh, well, you need someone. You're very strong, so you need someone who say, why are you doing that? How are you doing? I mean, you're paying for your, what do you call it, your coach.
So the question is, are you disciplined?
Oh, no.
Are
your standards the same in private as they are in public?
So
which is discipline.
I'm looking at that's discipline.
Yeah.
So it's like in the private side of it, when I'm just talking right now about working out and doing that because I do it, but am I doing it as consistently as I do in my public, in my professional life, in everything that I'm doing? Is I'm very disciplined and very intentional about it. I need to have that same intention with everything that I'm doing also in my personal life, maybe the life that people don't see.
Yeah.
We should be doing that same exact discipline.
That's a great, I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
Okay, what do your small unseen decisions say about who you really are? Is that a good one or should we move on?
No, that is really who you are. Those small little unseen things that God sees, that's who you are.
Yeah, because what we think is insignificant are significant to God.
That's why there's scriptures about it.
Little as much.
That's why there are scriptures about it.
Yep.
So those things that you do that are unseen to the public, that is the real person that Asbel is. The real person that Asbel is the one that, now I'm not saying that I want to take a rest or whatever, but if I'm undisciplined in what I eat, if I'm undisciplined in what I drink, if I'm undisciplined in a healthy lifestyle, but I'm disciplined in work, there's an imbalance.
Yes.
Because the Bible says my life is the temple of God.
Yeah.
My body is the temple.
We need to think like that more.
Yeah, my body is the
health,
temple.
How we handle our health is very important.
Everything that I read, my social, my mental, everything about my healthy well-being, physical, emotional, spiritual, my body is the temple of Christ.
Well, back to how are we handling the small things in life? What am I allowing myself to view? What am I allowing myself to read? How many hours am I scrolling a day? Doing junk scrolling,
it's how we were raised
everything.
as well. My mom and dad, my mom drilled it into us as kids. We had to iron our clothes before we got out there. You are a representation. And it didn't matter. We were poor as my goodness, we used to go to the Goodwill and do brown bag. That's how we used to get our clothes, whatever. Everything you could fit in a brown bag for $5 was what you had to wear.
Right.
But it didn't matter. My parents made us iron it, whatever, because you did not go out looking like you just walked out of bed, because your body is the temple.
Yeah.
And you should be proud of who you are. That's how they raise us. And I'm that way to this day.
You are.
I am that way to this day.
Absolutely,
because I'm thinking you have a first time to make an impression.
My mom used to say that, like, you should always be dressed, have your house clean, because you never know what's going to happen. I remember that.
Yeah.
She was very intentional about that.
And it was very intentional. Like, we're seeing that now. Like, people are saying, you know what? I see this thing like saying, let's make the airports are going on air care. Let's make it more, they've got a word for it, and it's messing my mind. But let's make it more like civil. Like, people, like a lot of times people are wearing pajamas in the airport and they're whatever. And it's like, let's make it more cultured. Or like you're proud of what, and I'm seeing that more. Like, I'm seeing this whole thing where people are, and it doesn't mean that you have to dress in a suit or anything, but it just means like, hey, you're representing yourself. Is that the representation that you want to give? And especially if you're a Christian, I represent Christ.
Right.
And so
I need to be cleaned up.
Yeah, brush your teeth, comb your hair. Wash your face.
Comb your beard.
Wash your face.
We have a lot of friends who have beards.
Yeah, just do. I mean, remember, you're the representation of who He is.
That's a great.
Our temples are. Our bodies are the temple of Jesus Christ.
I think that's a great thought. Yeah. And I'm wondering if
it's the details. Those small little things.
The small details. But I'm wondering, just thinking out loud right now, it hit me. I'm wondering if our parents' culture was all about that. So the kids thought it was a little extreme, so they became more relaxed. But then they're seeing, there is something to being presentable. We are the temple of God. So there is something to that.
Well, I will tell you this. How you are, it impacts your work performance.
Yes.
I've always noted that. I noted it even more when COVID, when everybody went in-house. I intentionally got up every morning.
I remember.
Got dressed, because if I stayed, nobody would have known. Because I wasn't on camera.
You're right.
I could have stayed in my pajamas. I could have got into work, whatever. But I delivered differently.
I remember
when I was relaxed versus when I was in a mode and got up, washed my hair.
I remember sometimes be like, babe, you're not going to see anybody today. But it's a mind thing.
It's a mindset. It's a mind
thing.
And
it really is.
I'm telling you, you will work and produce based upon the way that you take care of yourself.
Oh, it's the truth.
Hands down. If you get out there, if you go take a walk around, you exercise, and that could be me. It doesn't matter. You don't need to go lift and bench like everybody else does.
No.
Do what is appropriate for you. Just do something. 10 minutes, 20 minutes every day.
Well, and also those 30-minute mornings or hour mornings, however long, doing your devotion, just alone time. You and God, and you're alone in your thoughts. I think that helps set your day too. Have
accountability, have consistency. It's those small little things that He's watching.
Yeah.
He's watching us to see, can they be disciplined in these little tiny small things? Can He get up like I get up at 4:15 every single morning.
I don't. I get up at 5.
But it's fine. But that's just me. That's my discipline. I get up. I have a work, whatever. But there's some things, it's like if I don't have an accountability like this, it's working out. It's like making intentional time. You can be busy. Why can't you get on a phone and go walk? Why don't you have a little walking mat? I've got a stand-up desk now that I put together. Now I want to buy one of those little walking things where I can get my steps in.
I walk by and you're standing a lot now. I've noticed that.
Yeah.
But that's
I'm trying to be intentionally disciplined as well to get up so I'm not sedentary because I do, work a lot, or I'm trying to be more intentional about walking to restaurants and back if it's in a safe environment. I did that when I was in Colorado.
Yeah.
I wanted to get my steps in. It was
I think
a 3/4 of a mile walk to the
Yeah.
restaurant and 3/4 of a mile walk back to the hotel. But I felt it was safe to work through. These are like intentional disciplines that we make.
All of these things are small.
Yeah.
But they're building, they're shaping.
They're building, they're shaping. They're shaping a disciplined mindset, an intentional mindset.
Let's see. What else do I have? Okay, this is great. Would you make the same choice if you remembered that God sees that moment?
I don't know. You answer that first, and then I'll answer.
I think I would. I think I would. I know I would. If I'm just very intentional more than I've ever been, so I know I would. There's no like, well, maybe no. I'm in such a different spot right now that I absolutely would, because
20 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Well, when I was in D.C., I could care less if God was watching or not. I mean, I was very jaded. But right now, I think all the time God's watching me, all the time. My mom used to say it, but that's where I am now. Yeah,
I'm the same mindset right now.
Yeah.
Like everything
that
I'm doing.
I don't want to mess around.
Everything that I'm doing, I'm thinking, oh, God's watching that. Do you really want to participate in that conversation?
Yeah. Yes.
Is this uplifting? Is what you're talking about? I was just talking about this with a work colleague saying, if it is not, if the speech and my thought is not something that is good and pure and lovely and of good report, and we're not building,
I don't want to be a part of it.
I don't want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
I just don't want to be a part of it. I love you.
Yes.
I'm setting strong boundaries saying I'm not going to have this conversation. I want to be in rooms where we're building, we're finding solutions. And like there is always a way out of every single challenge you have. And I'm not going to sit and discuss the challenge, discuss the people who did that. I am going to be doing things where my mouth and my thoughts are of good report. Mm-hmm. That's the rooms I'm going to be in.
Couldn't agree more. I feel like that phrase, don't waste the moments that God gives you here on earth. I don't have time to waste time dissecting like you just talked about. I just don't. I know there's problems. I know there are, but I'm not going to spend hours on it and just go over and over. And then it gets worse. The gossip gets in, and then you start thinking ill about that person, So I think
this was a thing too that, like literally on the way over here, I'm in the car talking to a client, and they're talking to me about a challenge that they had. But we literally spent the time talking about the solutions. We found a few different solutions. That I always have time, and she apologized and said, "I'm so sorry because I know time is precious, and we only have so much. It's a finite number of hours we have every day." And I said, "You know what? I will always give time to conversations like this.
Yes.
What I'm not giving time to is hearing your problem and and just wanting to woe is me. I would never ever. I'm done with those topics. That's a waste of my time." That to me is the shift that I've had in my thinking over the last 8-9 months.
I think we're both there.
I'm there.
Yeah,
I'm there. And the more I exercise it, the more I exercise that, the easier it becomes. The easier it becomes for me to get out of conversations. It's been an amazing journey. And the doors that are opening and where you're moving. When I said I jumped the fence, I jumped the fence.
Yeah.
And it's where you move. It's like thinking, why didn't I do this earlier?
Why didn't I do this earlier?
But I wasn't ready for it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You just weren't ready.
Well,
all these journeys, all these small things were
all the
bringing
small things.
you to this moment.
And if we don't pass that small thing test, we're going to repeat it again and again until we learn it. So all these things. So I brought the analogy earlier. We're in the small kitchen, okay? Just say you're in the small kitchen. Your goal is to get here, but you got to learn some things. The small things are shaping your character, your work ethic, your destiny, your direction, everything. And then, you never arrive. You never arrive until you draw your last breath. Right. But we always have these goals. God is leading us through the assignments and the purpose that He has for us.
Well, I've just learned, and the one thing that I've learned over there is if there's always drama in your life, there is a common denominator, and it is you. And so generally when there would always be some type of drama, I'm thinking, it's not just whatever. You're facilitating that drama. And since I have stopped
being a part of it,
there's not much drama.
Yeah.
Like literally, it's like thinking I'm in different rooms.
Yeah.
Now I'm not dealing with that drama anymore. And if I know I'm going to go into an area where it's out, I start putting in boundaries.
Right.
I start putting in accountability.
Because it'll suck you in.
Because it'll suck you back in if you're not careful.
And you have been drawn into things.
Oh yeah, and I'm out of it. So I look at this in my life with friends, family, colleagues, people or whatever, and I just begin to look and see. Whenever there's some drama that raises its head, I just watch and see how they react to it. And if they allow it into their life, there's a common denominator. It's you. The only person that can get out of it is you. I can make a choice. I can't control what enters, but I can control absolutely my choice to allow that to stay.
Whether you're going to be a part of it or not.
And I'm not going to.
There's a few things here. I think you kind of we've kind of answered these maybe a little bit. How do you respond to an inconvenience? I'm just thinking out loud here because you and I travel a lot. You travel. Literally, he is gone almost every week. Sometimes you're home for a week or two, but you're gone all the time. So, and this happens when I'm flying, and there's always a delay.
Always.
The flights are always delayed. It seems every once in a while, it's just smooth as silk. But what do you do? I know what you do now. You don't get flustered anymore. You don't freak out anymore. But you see those people. You'll see them go up to the person who checks people in, and they're just going off on them and just taking everything. And I'm like thinking, they can't fix this. This is not their fault. But that's a small thing when no one's looking, like none of your friends see you. How do you handle that? I'm just giving the airport scenario, but there's so many other things.
I will tell you, an inconvenient, there's certain things that, this is just a muscle that I have been working on for a long time, 10, 15 years. It's just started that you kind of work through, what are the stressors? What are stressors I can control and what are stressors I can't? I can control different things around delays, how I react to them. And so if I know I've got an important meeting or I've got an important speaking engagement or something like that I need to be at, I always arrange to come in the day before.
Yeah.
Okay? That means I don't stress. So if something happens, then I have time through the process. If I get there on time, great. Then I just am there an extra day. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So those are things that I can eliminate. I can plan around that. I can do things around that. Then if there are some things and I planned all that and then guess what happens? It's whatever, then that was meant to happen.
Yeah.
And I usually will say, you know what? It was obviously not meant for me to do that speech. It was obviously not meant for me to be there at that time. Right. And I just note it through the process. If I'm driving somewhere, I'm different than you are. I want to be there 15 minutes ahead of time. So I'm going to leave a lot longer just in case.
Here?
Well, I'm just saying you look at things 20 minutes, whatever, but I anticipate there could be a traffic jam that's not recorded on the notes or the GPS or whatever like that. So I'd rather be there 15 minutes ahead of time than 15 minutes late saying, oh, traffic, because it looks like I didn't plan appropriately. These are just things that I do.
Yeah.
So I don't stress myself out intentionally. If I know there's going to be a thing around, I'm going to have to be cognizant of what I'm wearing and my uniform. I will lay it out the day before. I will work through my process in my mind. Okay, I know I've got this much time I need to pack for a bag. I usually will write out everything that I need and check it off the list as I go.
Well, you're giving great tips to anyone
listening. But those are just type of things that I'm saying. Those inconveniences, sometimes the inconveniences can be managed if I plan appropriately.
Right.
Okay? Then let's talk about the ones where you didn't plan anything. It's an inconvenience that happened. It didn't matter, what have you. I just tell myself in my mind, this is a part of the journey, Asbel. Don't get aggravated. It's a part, like if things happen in work, I mean, we've had some things that have happened over the last year that I didn't anticipate when I'm thinking, pause. Don't respond.
Well,
those inconveniences, the best thing that you could ever do is pause.
I think pause is the big word here because if you don't, you can literally overthink it, get upset, and just kind of stress. And I remember...
And stress everybody else. I could stress you out. I could stress my business partner. I could stress employees out.
And everybody's on edge.
And then everybody's on edge.
They don't want to say anything. And they're like, oh, But I remember flying home. I was by myself. I don't know where I was coming from. But this was last year. And the flight started being delayed, and I went, oh, I think I texted Susanna, and I was like, oh, here we go. And it kept getting delayed. Well, we finally got on the plane, and then there was a maintenance issue, and then they deplaned us, and we had to wait for another plane. I mean, it was hours and hours, and I wanted to get home to the dogs, and I wasn't being able to get home to pick up the dogs. You know how Bella's in her senior year.
And that was the whole reason why you had left early.
Yes, that was the reason
to go get the dogs.
This was last year.
Yeah.
And I remember I was so stressed out and I was so no one knew, but in my mind, I was like, oh my God, oh Lord, I want to get my dog. Bella's been having health issues, all this stuff. But then I thought to myself, you can't control this. You need to just relax. You need to let it go. You may have to stay all night here. But I remember that was a little stressful for me. But it wasn't really about me per se. It was more I wanted to get home to the dogs. And it's kind of sad, but
and I think a lot
really
of times
was.
that is what is going on when people react to it. But we have to change things differently because sometimes we'll allow our frustrations to move on to others. You made a conscious choice here, even though you wanted to get home to the dog. Yeah. I'm making a conscious choice to say, this isn't the pilot's fault. This isn't the flight attendant's fault. This isn't anything. This is just a part of the process. Doesn't mean that I agree with it. It just means there's an appropriate way to share your frustrations or whatever, and it may not be.
Well, and then you got to think, so there was a maintenance issue. I had to get off the plane. What if it would have took off and it was a maintenance issue bad enough where it could have caused issues in the air?
I never have any issues with travel. I always just say it was not meant to go on that. Thank you, Lord, for protecting whatever it is that you did. I literally do not stress at all whatsoever.
I will say that about you is you have got to that place.
Oh, yeah.
I see people stressing all the time at airports.
Me too.
And we have friends that do. And I'm like thinking, Asbel has definitely conquered this. It's amazing because
I've stayed overnight in hotels because whatever. Like, I'm totally fine with that. Yeah. I'll call her and I'll say, babe, I'm staying the night in a hotel. I guess it wasn't meant for me to be on that plane. You never know what would have happened. I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, I think that's where you have to get to, though. It's like, God's ways are not our ways, and maybe he's protecting me from something.
One thing that I have learned about Isaiah 55, 8, 9, and then 10 and 11 is I could lay the best plans out there. Yeah. And he has told me in his word, my plans are so much better. Let me in your plan. Yeah. Because I'm a planner. Yes. And I have planned God out of my plans because he was trying to take me in a different path and I resisted it. Yeah. And it was the worst things that I've ever done. And I won't ever do that again. Yeah. And so I do this. I apply that in everything in my life. I'll lay the plan. I have the itinerary. Anybody that can look at, Susanna puts a phenomenal itinerary together for me, but I always know it might change. I call Susanna, guess what? She said, I know I've been seeing all the texts from the airports and whatever. And she said, what do you want to do? I said, we're just going to go with it right now. You know what I'm saying? Whatever happens. We might have to make some phone calls and change some things around, but I'm done. I am done, like literally, career-wise, professional, personal, everything that we're doing.
I feel like there's so much stress in the world already. Yeah. Everybody has anxiety. It feels like everybody's, I don't want to say anxiety, everybody's anxious about something. Yeah. Anxiety and anxious are different, but people are anxious. And
because there's just a lot going on. There's so much chaos.
When you get to the airport, people are already feeling anxious. And then when you get on the plane, it's not worth it to me to stress over it. Do you know what I mean? God has really helped me there about just having peace. Yeah.
So if you're listening today and you're hearing something that's resonating with you, we want to inspire you for hope. It's a journey. Every day we have to do this. But the issue is, it's like we talk about, this is like exercise. As you build a muscle, you get better and better and better at it. When we started this, oh boy, I'd go off. Like I remember one time, I was so upset at the airport because we were delayed or whatever. But this was years and years ago. And I'm thinking, you know what? Your blood pressure's gone up. You've gotten upset about something that you can't control. And did the outcome change because you got upset? Did it change? It did not change. It just got you. So this is what God's trying to tell us is, let me handle. Right. He may be protecting you from something that is unseen right now that you don't even realize. What you're going through is only building you to better, and he's protecting you from things.
So all of these are kind of like little small things.
Little small things.
But they're shaping us, and I think sometimes we are repeating them.
To who we are today.
But we do repeat them sometimes. If we don't learn, and we're not... I'm using passing the test, but you know what I mean. We're being shaped by those little things, how we respond at the airports to people.
T.F. Tenney said it this way: you will continue to repeat the season if you do not learn through the season that you're going. You will continue to repeat it. And that is so true.
That is really
You will continue to keep going through the same exact thing if you do not learn the lesson in the season that you're in. And it may come to you, it may not come to you, but it is the truth. It is the truth.
It really is.
You will learn. So I try to, everything that we go through, babe, I'm like, okay, God, there's a lesson in this for us. What are we learning through this lesson?
I think you and I, like I said, we're pretty much getting on the same page with all of this. We weren't always.
Oh, no, we weren't. Just go back and watch our a few episodes back.
We've had a lot of issues, folks. If you only knew.
Well, you do know. Just go watch our video. Just go watch our other episodes.
And we haven't even given everything, but But I feel like we are definitely, God has helped us. I am so grateful for His grace. I mean, He has helped us and strength to get through this. So we are handling those small things.
We sure are. Handle those small things, folks. Thanks for joining us on this episode.
Blessings.